So the Suns have the 6th pick. Not what they envisioned, not what any of us envisioned, really. All of us were saying they should either take Zion or Ja, and now they're down to number 6. Not a disaster, certainly disappointing, but you can still work your way out of this. The first question is, of course, are the Suns just going to have enough consistency in their front office to just have actual conversations with each other? I mean, that's been a problem with them, and I think that's part of why they've screwed up so many draft picks with this team. But even so, they do have some stuff. Ayton looks cool, Booker is Booker, and TJ Warren's pretty nice and all that stuff. So this team has a lot of needs. Could go with another wing to join up with all the wings they already have. The problem with that is the 2 best ones not in the top 3, Culver and Hunter, both of them could not be available when Phoenix actually selects. And if that happens, then they are either rolling the dice with Cam Reddish, although to be fair, unless you're selecting Zion or Ja, you're rolling the dice on anybody in this top 10. But even so, a lot of people have said Cam is a bit of a risk. And if it's not that, if you're not determined to go for a wing no matter what, then you're looking at a point guard. And your 2 options there are Darius Garland and Kobe White. Garland is a shooter, he likes to shoot the ball, and he's really good in the pick and roll, and he can be sometimes a little risky with his passes and all that, but he can certainly score and make plays for others. And he can shoot, which is huge as well for a team that has not been a good offensive team. And then there's Kobe White, who's a bit more of an attacker at the rim. He's a little bigger than Garland is, and, Kobe is not the shooter that Garland is, but he's also maybe still pretty good at spot shooting and playing off the ball. For him can still be solid, which I guess gives you maybe a little bit more room for the idea of Devin Booker having the ball a lot, but at the same time, I think Garland can play off of it as well. I don't know if I have a solid answer for which one of these 2 is better. I think Kobe has more potential defensively, and I think that's something that this team should care about. So maybe that is the deciding factor with those 2. If the Suns are deciding they're going to go with a point guard, there is a chance that they could have their eyes set on some veteran point guard through free agency or whatever, because I'm pretty sure the Suns have some money to play with in free agency, and they do have some trade assets. I mean, you gotta assume some teams would care about some of their young dudes. So there's all that, but maybe they decide that they want to put Devin Booker at point guard and they're willing to go that route. Then their other option would be to draft a wing. Now, I don't think Jarrett Culver and Deandre Hunter are going to be available to them at number 6. There's a decent chance neither one of them is. Maybe one of them is still. I don't know. They have different play styles. Culver has more potential as a scorer. Hunter has more potential as a defender and a guy who's content with not taking as many shots and things like that. For this particular team, I think DeAndre Hunter would make more sense. I think it'd be a more natural fit. You could put him at the 4 spot, which is, I think, something they've been really looking for. Although you could argue TJ Warren is the natural 4 for this team. I don't know. But, again, it's tough to say whether they're going to have an opportunity to select either one of those guys. There's also is the conversation of, at what point do you have too many wings? I mean, if they re-sign Kelly Oubre, then, you just go down the list. It's TJ Warren, Josh Jackson, Mikal Bridges, Oubre. Now, if they do want to move Devin Booker to full-time point guard, then I guess that takes one of your wings off the board, but that is a lot of bodies. Not that all of them are good. I think Josh Jackson pretty much sucks, even if he did have some moments towards the end of last season. I recognize that. I really don't care, to be kind of mean. I guess where I end up on all this is even if you do have wings, if you think a wing is the player you should take, then just take him. But again, it's tough to decide whether those guys are going to really be there. The other wing who could be there is Cam Reddish, and I've said the same thing about Cam Reddish in each of these videos, which is he's a risk, and you could be getting the next Rudy Gay. but you could also be getting a guy who can basically do everything. He can make threes, he can beat guys off the dribble, he can play in the pick and roll, he can finish at the rim, and be a good defender, and grab rebounds, and just be awesome. But if it's possible for someone to be the Andrew Wiggins of college, Cameron Reddish was pretty much that this season, so that would be the most interesting one for Phoenix, and that's, again, what I say about Reddish for all these. Someone is going to select Cam Reddish, and I don't know who, but if I had to think of a team that is a little more desperate than everybody else and also just has the potential to do something crazy, which this team certainly does with their owner and everything, maybe this would be the team that selects Cam Reddish a little higher than at least some draft people have him projected to go. So, after all that, if I was to give my opinion of who the Suns should prioritize, ignoring who is actually going to be available and all that, I think if I was running the Suns, it would be Hunter number 1, Jared Culver 2. I'm pretty undecided on the point guards, but if you force me to pick in this moment, I'll go Kobe White for his defense 3, and then Garland 4, and I guess Cam Reddish 5. So, yeah, there you go. The Suns need help besides this. Like, they got to go into this offseason trying to get veterans who care about defense and not doing stupid things. And hopefully Monty Williams can address some of those. I mean, I did talk about this in the Monty Williams video for this team, but if you go back and you look at the Pelicans when they weren't plagued by injuries and all that, they were pretty good at not giving up offensive rebounds and not turning the ball over and not fouling, and the Suns were horrible at those things this year, and it's a big reason why they were so bad. So if Monty can correct those things, and they can get some veterans, and they can get this pick right, and they can kind of shore up the roster a little bit in terms of who's actually taking shots and who isn't, then maybe they can finally get going in the right direction.